What's happening? This is Djordje Stijepovic, your friendly neighborhood bullfiddle cat. Welcome to the 21st episode of the Slapstream, live from Slapsville. Although I'm not in Slapsville today, I'm in Miami. I have a weird corporate gig, but it's pretty cool. This is not my first place of choice where I would travel during COVID-19, but it is what it is. It's pretty hot and humid. And I see there's lots of you here, like 90 people. I don't think we had 90 people, 94 people in the first minute of the slap stream. And let me see the comments. Already lots of comments. Aurelia and Michelle, Mad Twins, as always. Hello to Ukraine. Christina, Vanessa, Jonathan, and all of you. Please keep these comments coming. And if you have any questions for Patricia or for me, please write them down. And I will try to feature all these comments. Aurelia is shaking with excitement. All right, Aurelia. Almost there. And happy Halloween. It's so weird not to play October Flame. I usually play with Tiger Army in Orange County every Halloween. And this is so weird, but best kind. I miss tradition of going to Horrorpops show on Halloween from May to Tease. We'll ask Patricia about it. Maybe they have something in the works. All right, so I don't think that I can read all these comments, but thanks so much for that. Before we start, I would like to give a special shout out to our new Patreons. If you'd like to support the show, if you'd like to support the Slapstream live from Slapsville, please check out the Patreon. Patreon the link is below this video, and check out a couple donation options. I have put PayPal and put Venmo. So help me keep this thing going for a while. And YouTube recently allowed me to have super chat and super stickers. So if you want your comment to be immediately featured in a different color or something interesting here, like check out these super chat options that are under the live chat. I appreciate you doing all of that. And I think that's about it. Oh, if you haven't subscribed, that's the most important thing. Subscribe to the channel right now. I'll wait for 5 seconds. Have you clicked subscribe? Please do if you haven't. All right, without further ado, after all this pressure, we finally have First Lady on the show. First Lady on the Slap stream, and it's Patricia Day from the Horrorpops.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Nervous, but
Nervous?
yeah. It's getting put on the spot here, literally. Play some bass. I don't know how.
Well, you're doing it so well, and people love you. So I think that it's a good day, Halloween, like for you to be here. And we were talking if people are going to be like trick or treating in Europe, but see how many people are here. I wonder how many people from Europe.
Are there any Danes? Er der nogen danskere? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Write in the comments. Psycho Bitch Out of Hell wrote, my queen.
Yeah.
So how have you been doing? How is this whole end of the world thing affecting your life?
I am so bored. I'm so bored. It's the only thing I can do is music. Well, that and my other education, which is pattern drafting for costumes. Like none of that stuff is available to do right now. It's all shut down, closed. It's tough. I'm glad we got to tour a little this year because that little bit of money we made with Horrorpops in February, that's got to sustain us to what, sometime summer next year. I don't know. It's, ugh. I don't want to think about it.
It's tough and it's so weird, but I'm glad you did a comeback tour in right before this whole
Yeah, right
thing
as it was
started.
happening. Yeah.
Yes, I guess it was happening. We were just not that aware because the tour was in January and February, right?
Yeah. And at that time, it was, you know, the flu from China. Nobody was calling it a coronavirus yet, really, It was, but, we all got sick on that tour. So
Oh,
we all thought we had pneumonia. I'm guessing when there is a test that's reliable, we will go get tested. And I'm pretty sure it'll say we already had COVID. I mean, I lost my voice completely on that tour, and breathing was just so painful. And antibiotics didn't really work. So I'm pretty sure we all had COVID.
wow.
Yeah.
And the last shows were the last shows in Los Angeles?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We played the Wilton, which was amazing. That was the third to last show, then Vegas, and then we played House of Blues Anaheim.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Is it still
And
called Anaheim? I guess it is, right? It moved. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Out there.
yeah, the new House of Blues.
Yeah.
And so how was it like finishing the tour like without voice? Like, did you have problems on these last few shows?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I had to drink a lot of Jägermeister to keep to keep going. Um but luckily, I did tell the audience, hey, I just don't have a voice. Please sing as much as you can for me. And people did. In some places, like in Arizona, the audience was louder than we were. We couldn't hear ourselves. I felt like Beatles. I'm just going to say that. I felt like Beatles just for a second there.
That's awesome when musicians can say that. And every musician should be able to say that at least once
Yeah.
in
Yes, for
lifetime.
sure. Yeah.
And Wilton is awesome. And I remember people were so excited like to see you after 10 years or when was the last show?
I think, according to my Facebook feed, the last show was 9 years ago in Mexico City.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we didn't know that was the last show. We didn't know that we would be gone for 9 years. We didn't know we were going to play again. It's, as with anything Horrorpops, nothing is really ever that planned or thought through.
Well, that's rock and roll, right?
It's something.
Yeah. All right. Like, so I would be interested to hear about your beginnings. How did you start playing music? How did you get interested? When?
Okay, so I grew up with music in my family. Great musicians in my family. My stepfather, for a lot of my formative years, was actually one of the two from a group called Laid Back, which I believe was the first Danish group to actually make the top charts in the US. I think they broke with Sunshine Reggae or White Horse. Some of you may know it. Anyways, so his house, half his house was a recording studio, and all I wanted to be was him, basically, when I was a young kid. I just wanted to do whatever he did. And then another very important figure in my life was my cousin, who's a very, very accomplished avant-garde jazz musician. He was the one who gave me my first guitar and said, "Here, play that." And the approach was very, you have to read music and you have to know all your scales, and which, as a young kid, I found pretty boring. But then I discovered Metallica, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to learn how to play Master of Puppets." So so that got me started for real. But finding people to play with was difficult, especially when you're in your preteens or teens. Like, lot of my friends, how they got started, they just got together with their best friends and then, got instruments and started, playing their favorite band together. As a girl, I didn't really have that option because the guys were all like, yeah, no, we want to do a Guns N' Roses cover band. And, there's no girls in Guns N' Roses. So it took a while to find people to play with. But I mean, luckily, I found some great people. And by the age of 17, I got my first record contract with a band called Peanut Pumpkin. And in that band, I was a guitarist. And then a few years later, Peanut Pumpkin got selected to represent Denmark at this music convention in Germany. There was 3 bands from each country represented. And from Denmark, it was Peanut Pumpkin and this other band I'd never heard about called Necromantics. So anyways, we show up in Germany, and we're playing, and there's this guy on the side of the stage with this weird hair, and he's yelling things at me while I'm playing, like, take off your clothes. Like, I thought he was an absolute ass. And but that turned out to be Kim Necroman. And then I guess we did pretty well with Peanut Pumpkin during that show, because at a point, like, people were dancing, and then they were doing this thing where they were bumping into each other pretty violently. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a huge fight. And what they were doing was wrecking, which I didn't know what was. And I was like, I stopped the song and I was like, please don't fight each other. Pretty embarrassing. But it's played. And I was pretty fascinated by that whole upright bass thing. And then after the show, Kim came to me and he was like, we should do something together. We should play together. And I was like, I was pretty busy with Peanut Pumpkin, but, he was persistent. And then one day I said, okay. And he came to my place. I saw him walking down the street with a bass on his, with no case or anything, just a bass on his shoulder, an upright bass. And he came to my place and we tried playing a little. And I was like, I don't know. And then we're like, okay, let's try something different. How about I play that bass and you play this guitar? And that's how Horrorpops got started. We switched instruments because we wanted to write music that didn't sound like Necromantics or Peanut Pumpkin. And yeah, so I guess the rest is kind of history. Questions? That was a long speech.
Yeah. Well, everybody enjoys it. See, like KTMD wrote that Kim, what a charmer. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was like, how did you guys meet? But you already answered that. So you haven't talked at all before the show, and it was the first thing that he told you was like, hey, let's have a band together.
Well, no, the first thing he told me was to take off my clothes
Okay.
while I was playing, which was really, really rude. And he's making excuses like, well, you are already taking off clothes. I took off my jacket while I was playing because I was hot, and that prompted him to say, take off more clothes. But great. But yeah, so the second thing he said was, let's do a band together.
Well, I guess those lines worked then. Which one worked better, the clothes
The
line
first
or
one,
the band?
that definitely didn't work. I really didn't like. My first impression was really not good.
Let me see. Like, you already have like some questions. If people didn't mosh in Denmark, what did they do during shows?
Well, moshing is a punk, or was at that time, a mosh pit was more of a punk thing, while in psychobilly you wreck. I knew about moshing because Peanut Pumpkin was more of a punk band. But what does people do in Denmark at shows? Get very, very wasted and sing along with their arms in the air, I think is about it. I mean, Danish people are not that rhythmic in general. I mean, if you ever go to a Danish disco, you know, it's a laugh. It's not. It's very stiff.
Really? Okay. Never done that. Now I have to put that on my bucket list.
Yes, please
Uh,
do.
Phil is asking you what or who influences you.
Well, influences. Well, my all-time favorite band. I'm truly a very, very, very big fan of Depeche Mode. And I think you can hear that in some Horrorpop songs. Secondly, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Very big fan. Third would be Tom Waits. But that's what inspires me musically. But as a bass player, I really don't have any influences at all on purpose. I've never really sat down and listened to other upright players because, I ended up being married to a guy that is an upright player and is very talented. And it's always seemed out of reach for me to be that good. And so I never really tried. I guess I just made up my own thing as I went along, I guess.
That's always, for me, that was always the goal, finding your own voice, something that it's recognizable and unique, rather than copying all these guys before, because then you just become a copy and then you never basically find yourself and live your own life.
That is
always
true,
my approach.
but there's a lot to be said about knowing your basics, which I don't on upright. I do not know any basics.
Oh, well, I agree with that. That's why I personally went to school, to learn the basics. And like I have to, there's like so many comments, so I have to, ruin a little bit of my flow, like, because I want you to answer these
I
questions.
see our drummer is is chatting us. That's
oh, right? Okay, cool.
Henrik.
I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. Bailey Liege asking, were you a Wendy or Williams fan?
No.
And no. Christina, are there any new artists that you're currently listening to?
New artist? Well, Billie Eilish. I'm super impressed by her. She just broke the mold, and she dares to be different by being herself. So that I find inspiring.
I like your choice of music. I have to say that I do like Billie Eilish, and I love Tom Waits. Tom Waits has been always my top 5 artists, and I love Nick Cave as well. I do like Depeche Mode, but I was never a big fan.
Oh.
Lokai Gun is asking you, did you take to the upright pretty easy, or did it take you some time to learn and master?
I don't think I master it yet. I don't think I'll ever master it. And it's weird, like compared to how I approach guitar playing, which I do know the basics and actually have been probably trained. But that's a whole different world. And I don't translate it to upright bass. Wait, what was the question?
Did you take to the upright pretty easy, or did it take you some time to learn and master?
No, I did not take to it easy. I still find it difficult. It was funny because last night when we were setting up here, I was watching Kim grabbing the guitar, and I was like noticing, wait, you have a guitar face. Like, when you play, you're like, your lips are moving and you clearly have a guitar face, but you don't have a bass face. And he looks at me and goes like, no, playing bass is like pooping. I was like, okay, that's an interesting way to approach it. For him, I guess it's very easy. It's not for me.
Meteors or Reverend Horton Heat?
That's two very, very, very different things. I mean, I actually like the first 2 Meteors albums. I haven't listened that much to them. Reverend Horton Heat was actually one of the few bands that was in my record collection when Kim and I met that he knew. And that was because Reverend Horton Heat at that time was on a label called Sub Pop. And I basically bought everything that came out from that label. But I didn't know that Reverend Horton Heat was anything Billy related or anything. I just dug what he did. Then later I got introduced to more traditional psychobilly bands, like Meators, and like a lot of other people, especially here in the US, Tiger Army, introduced a whole new style in psychobilly, more approachable than a lot of other traditional psychobilly bands, more poppy, I guess. Don't hate me for saying that. I think Horrorpops is poppy too. So yeah.
So both is the answer.
So both, I guess.
I don't have time to ask you my questions here from all
Just
these. Marissa is asking you, have you ever considered writing a song in Danish? Why or why not?
I have, and actually, I have another band currently called Communion. We're not ready to release or go out and play. It's we're nerding around a lot, but we have a song with Danish lyrics for that.
If people are interested to follow that band, should they find it on Instagram or Facebook, or
not
just your
find
personal?
anything.
Okay.
Anybody that knows a little bit about me or about Horrorpops knows that I stayed away from anything online for 10 years. I'm not a big fan of the whole look at me, which, I guess you have to nowadays. But when we're ready, we'll put it online and let people. Don't worry, I'll spread the word.
Well, I'm sure that most of the fans know, but if you guys want to follow Patricia and Horrorpops, check out the links under this video. I put her Facebook and Instagram and all of that. Mary is asking, do Horrorpops have any kind of PayPal, Venmo support thing?
No, we don't. We even closed down horrorpops.net, which is our merch online store, because well, maybe you can tell me different, you guys out there, but my thinking was I felt it was cheesy to sell merch without playing shows. It was a little too much like, send us your money. It doesn't feel right. But I do get a lot of, people asking, and wanting to support and help out. And, I appreciate that. Maybe we should open it. You let me know. Should we open it?
Do you listen to the old Danish punk bands like the Sods?
Of course. And the later development called Sword Soul, Black Sun. Love Suds. Like, come on. If you've been to an Horrorpop show, you might have noticed we always try to play the same music before we go on. And that's my playlist. And there is a Suds song called Copenhagen.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Before. Yeah.
So there you go, Anthony. MC, thank you, MC. And Patricia, will there be more Horrorpops music? That would be awesome.
Well, as I said, the Horrorpops, we're not really great at thinking things through or planning ahead. And but honestly, we have talked about whether it would be fun to write some new music. So I won't rule it out. It's just right now everybody's like, well, you're not doing anything. Why don't you just record a new album? But that with COVID, it's just not possible. Unless you're a pretty wealthy person and have music equipment at your home to record with, you have to get into a studio. You have to be amongst other people. And that's just not really working out in this situation. So, but that doesn't mean that, I'm not sitting here and writing up little melody lines and stuff. So we'll see. I mean, we did this tour. We were thinking that maybe that would be our only tour, our last tour, or maybe it wouldn't. We didn't know that there would be people wanting us back. And it's a fine line to walk as a musician, because it's easy to get dragged into this, holy shit, like, look at how many people were at these shows, and people really, want us back. But there's also, realizing that I'm sure a lot of people came because we have been gone for so long, and they wanted to revisit their high school years, and they might not be interested in continuing with new Horrorpop stuff. We'll see. You
But
let
you
me
have
know.
like a new fans. You see, like Elsa, 7-year-old from Chicago. She's asking you, what is your hairstyle named?
uh I don't have a name for it. Morning mess, I guess.
All right, there you go, Elsa. Um, okay, so see, I think that I have to get back on my my questions. But before
Yes.
that, what's your top 5 favorite Depeche Mode songs?
I can't just narrow it down to 5. That's just impossible. Impossible. But I will say, like, I know a lot of people who are very dedicated fans of a band. They're always like, oh, only the early stuff was good. The stuff that, most people don't know, or it's like the authentic, whatever. I'm not like that. I love every damn Depeche Mode album, including the last ones is actually one of my favorites. So,
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
yeah.
I do have lots of respect for Depeche Mode. I was never listening to them. Maybe I should get more into it.
You should, especially the later stuff, sound wise. They keep developing sound, playing things that are not an instrument, but just making a sound with it. It's really interesting.
Like a sound design type of thing,
Yeah, yeah,
more like texture.
yeah.
I like that approach. I mean, I guess like when I was a kid, I wanted to learn as much as music theory, and I got into jazz and classical, and just wanted to understand every possible music that it's around. And then I got a little bit out of that pop world. Maybe I should get back to it a little bit.
I think you can draw a lot of parallels between like new avant-garde jazz and the more Depeche Mode kind of, because it's the same approach of this music happening, but not necessarily using the traditional box.
Well, as I said earlier, like whoever has individuality and unique sound, I'm all up
You're
for it.
there.
Yes. All right. So one more question from the fans, and then I'll
Okay.
get back to my Randa. Are you
Okay.
a fan of the Danish band Nephew?
No, that was I think after we moved away from Denmark, that band came on the scene, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure.
All right. I'm not sure if this is okay. So Lucky wrote, "You're such a positive role model in music that young women need in this day and age."
Okay.
Lots of responsibility.
That is a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. So guitar was your first instrument?
Mhm.
Okay. And then you switched to bass.
And then I
Not
switched to
switched,
bass.
added it, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. It became ended up becoming my main thing.
Well, that's what people, I guess, recognize you the most. And do you play any other instruments?
Besides bass and guitar,
Yes.
I could come with a very naughty comment here, but I'm not. So no.
Then so basically in slap bass you got interested after you met Kim,
Mhm.
and you started playing bass. Do you remember what was the first lick that you
Yes.
learned?
Yes. And it's actually, if there's any bass players out there that, are starting out, I would say go listen to the first Horrorpops album in order, because as I learned to play, the very first thing I play is the very first song on the album. So Julia was the first thing. Well, actually, that's not all the way true. Now that I think about it, the very first thing I played was actually a Necromantic song on stage with Necromantics that I didn't even know I could play. It's called SM. It's a 2-string thing.
Yeah.
But so that was the first thing. Yeah, so Horrorpops, Julia is the first, and you can actually hear it. It's very, very simple playing, because I'm like trying to figure out this whole pull and slap thing, and still, being able to to do a melody line. So the melody line is also very simple. And then the next song on the album, is it the next song? I'm not sure. Well, the next song that we made was Ghouls, and that started because that was a lick that I was just standing there, you know, practicing and just basically learning how to triple slap. And, you know, so I was like, oh, this could be a song. So that was the next one. That's the where you can start learning the triple slap. I can show you if you want.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right.
All right, people, get ready. Patricia gonna show the first lick and show this bass.
So I will say, and that's just because I'm not the brightest person in the world, but when I watch your shows and I was listening to bass players, I was like, oh, the sound is so clickety and So if you have a pair of headphones, I would, recommend putting them on because that's where you get the low end of the bass. But anyway, so I was saying the first thing I really played was Julia, which, as I said, is very simple. Single slaps. And then the next song as I developed was this lick that I actually still today use as a warm-up. So, I start up. You can hear it eventually, it becomes Ghouls, but and then speed it up. And do it continuously. And go to always there to buy me a drink. So that's Ghouls.
I love it. Thanks so much. And so, are you using the same kind of technique that Kim is doing? Which fingers are you using for slapping and pulling the strings?
I don't know. You tell me. I can see if I can get a little closer. So you tell me. Can you see? I guess these two, but it depends. Like sometimes it'll be that one. It depends on how worn out I am on my skin here, but the triple slaps are the traditional front back. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. And do you ever use the pinky thing that Kim is famous for?
No, I tried and I cannot get it to be continuously. And well, I can, but to me, like somehow he makes it sound like a 4/4, like he's done all of them, and to me it ends up being a triple. Like it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like when he's doing it. And I will say I can only play it on his bass because his bass is built for speed. That the fingerboard is so thin it just bounces when you play it, so it just comes automatically because it bounces back for you.
So it's a different setup. So which bass do you prefer?
Mine. I couldn't play his because if you see pictures live, often you'll see my hand all the way out here. I hit hard. If I did that on his bass, it would break.
Oh, okay. So it's more, I guess that's more of a traditional slap bass approach.
Is it?
Than what he's doing. I think so. Most of us do it that way. So Isis said, I always wanted to learn to do that. I'm so glad I can rewatch this later and try it out eventually.
Just listen to the first Horrorpops album and go song by song. You'll get it.
And Django asked you, have your fingers ever bled?
Yes. And yes. I think I watched it. Yes, very often. And very often I've been going on stage like 30 seconds before going on. I'm there with what's it called? Glue, the fast drying glue.
Super glue?
Super glue, like sticking it in there and trying to close up the wounds and stuff. But
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it does.
So you got do you ever get like blisters or?
Yeah, but not
clapping.
so much anymore. I did before, but after I started using in-ears, where I can clearly hear what I'm playing at all times, I'm not competing with an annoying guitarist and drummer for sound. I don't, that means I'm playing less hard and can hear myself, so I don't get blisters to that degree any longer. No.
Well, that's a good tip. Oh, sorry. So it's a wrong message. See, like the comments are coming so fast. So the first album as were inspired me to play bass for 6 years. Stand Up to Electric. It was definitely a weird transition.
Yes, it is. That is a weird transition. It's two
Go-
very
go-
different beasts.
Go back to Stand Up. I am 16. What were your first thoughts on your single "Walk Like a Zombie"?
Okay, so Walk Like a Zombie is on Horrorpops' second album, but was actually written as a part of the first demo for Hell Yeah. But I wasn't comfortable playing it yet. So I had to wait a few years. That's how slow I am before putting that on an album, because the bass line and the vocal line is competing. So that was a little too challenging in the beginning. But Walk Like a Zombie, I think we're going to play it in a bit. I mean, Kim's going to join me. But the bass line, very traditional bass line for most, but for me, it was complicated. Yeah.
Is this a good time to play something?
We could play a song. You guys
All
want
right,
a song?
let's do that. Let's see what the comments
Okay,
say.
Kim. Gotta wait for the old man.
All right, let's wait for the guitar player. Do you prefer him as a guitar player or a bass player?
I prefer him as a bass player because then I can watch him and not have to share a stage with him. Kim is a very loud guitar player.
Loud?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he's gonna say something because I my small setup on stage is 4 cabinets, and I prefer to have 6 cabinets. And he's like, I can't hear anything but bass. But he's still, in my opinion, it's as a guitarist, he plays like he does bass. He fiddles a lot, and he always manages to play against the melody line. So it always puts me in a situation where I have to simplify what I'm playing to make enough room for both his weird all over the place guitar playing and the vocal line. So
well, it seems that in whoever wants to have like at least a little bit of a pop sound should kind of like minimize so that everything could be heard. All right, so what do you want to play now? Everybody's so excited.
Should we play?
Hang on. I didn't even have time to put up my hair.
How about we play something very traditional for upright bass?
I don't know if you can you hear the guitar?
I hear it. Like, let's see what people are saying.
All right.
Let's do a little rockabilly. Just straight up old school rockabilly.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you gonna count me in? You go to the rhythm section.
Am I the rhythm?
Yeah.
Get back!
1,
2, 1, 2, 3, 4. he would use my willies. But I would slap, roll up jeans and cream song. Like to look upon with this fly almost through a toe. Now I'm writing in the bed with this fly hey, oh Lord, in my head, what's the fly toe? Yeah. Come on, hurry, baby, come on. Hey, cool. Yeah. Hey, baby.
Hey,
Awesome. You know, everybody is so excited. That's kind of the most rockabilly tune that you have, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so we have like a couple of requests. Like next time you play, Kim needs to turn up his guitar a little bit. And the second
It was
question.
very loud here.
Oh, really? And the second
You can turn it
question,
up.
I would like you to read the second request.
Encore?
No. Like the one that I featured on the screen.
Kim, take off your clothes. He's taking off his clothes off camera.
Oh.
You don't need to see that.
You know. All right, I can like click on all these and then they're like just keep coming. My quarantine is complete, says Moon. Kim's making guitar face. It must not be like pooping.
Exactly.
And encore from Alex. Awesome. And people are asking for more merch, so I think you should bring back that store.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
Like
we'll try.
I
I mean, everything right now is a very mom and pop operation, and like the merchandise is literally here at our house, and we'll have to figure out a way to go to the post office and not have people be impatient with us. And yeah, but okay, I'll think about it. See if I can make it work.
See, people want it, so just so you know.
Okay.
So you said that you started Horrorpops immediately after you guys met,
Yes, immediately.
and that was 96.
Yeah, 96.
And so there were like quite a few people, like a few lineup changes. Do you have a favorite lineup?
It's funny because I don't really think we've had lineup changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
you and
mean,
Kim.
no, it's Kim, Henrik, and I. Is you know that's how we started out, us three, and but then we discovered that I weren't that great at playing, and Kim was all over the place trying to play 10 things at once at guitar, which became a little noisy. So we were like, okay, let's add somebody who knows how to play their instrument besides the drummer. So we added a second guitar player, a rhythm guitarist, to kind of have somebody who was locked in. And now our first guitarist, who actually is the one who plays on Hell Yeah, but is not the one who's pictured on Hell Yeah, is Cass the Clash from this Danish band called Strawberry Slaughterhouse, which Henrik, our drummer, also played with. And then we decided to move to America, and Cass decided to become a dad right there and then. So we had to find another one, which turned out to be Karsten, who is the one who's pictured on the Hell Yeah album. And he was also from Strawberry Slaughterhouse. He was actually the lead singer of Strawberry Slaughterhouse. And so he was with us for quite a bit. And then he fell in love with a Danish girl, and we're like, yeah, but we're in America. You know, you got to choose between Denmark or America if we're going to do this. So he chose the girl back home. Good for him. She was a sweet girl. So then we're like, oh shit. By then we started to get a following and having some kind of success. And we're like, okay, well, do we feel comfortable just being a 3-piece? I'm like, no. So we asked Jeff Kresge, who was at the time the bass player for Tiger Army. He just left Tiger Army and was just hanging around. So we're like, hey, you know, come play with us. He was also married to one of our go-go dancers, so it was kind of already in the family. And so we did that for, I believe, 2 years. And then came time for Kiss Kiss Kill Kill. And we brought in a very close friend of ours called Sam Soto, who's also the guy that I actually have my other band with, Communion. We brought him in. So he's actually playing on the third album, Kiss Kiss Kill Kill. But by the time we were going to tour, he couldn't tour. His health wouldn't allow him to tour at the time. So we're like, okay, should we just take the step now and be the 3-piece we were always intended to be, and did. And it felt right. And we felt by then, you know, from 96 to 2008, that's 12 years. We should be, you know, well enough on our instruments now to pull it off as a 3-piece. And so that's how that happened. But it's always weird about talking about lineups and, you know, what's your favorite lineup with whatever band. And here's the thing I have to say to fans is saying to, you know, one of your favorite musicians, like, oh, I liked it so much better with yada yada lineup. It's kind of like being that mom that says, I liked your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend so much better than this new one. You know, like, it's kind of just annoying.
Well, I can see that. That's a funny comparison, but I like it. So your drummer Henrik, like, he's the original drummer, and he's still with you?
Yes. Yes,
oh, okay.
there wouldn't be a Horrorpops without these 3 people: Henrik Niedermeyer, Kim Neckerman, and I. But Henrik is now back in Denmark, and which, you know, isn't as big an issue any longer to be in different countries as it once were. But, you know, due to COVID, she can't travel back and forth between Denmark and USA currently. So we've been talking about, you know, oh, should we, like everybody else, do an online show? And currently there's not really, well, maybe somebody knows, but if you find a way where you can live stream from 2 different continents and be on time with each other, like no latency, then that would be great to know. I haven't been able to find such platform to be able to do that. So, I mean, if Henrik would ever to be replaced in Horrorpops, that would be out of the question. But maybe there could be a stand-in drummer. It would have to be another Dane, I think, to work well with us, because, you know, Danish humor is a little harsh and very sarcastic and can be offensive to non-Danish people. So it'd be best to be a Dane, I think. But I mean, that would be the one time we would replace Henrik, would be for a one-off show, or where he just couldn't make it into the US for whatever reason.
So he was based in US, but he moved because of the COVID back.
No, not because of COVID. He moved back about 9 years ago.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and is now a happy father to a gorgeous girl, and his life just became so much more fulfilled when moving back to Denmark. So I would want him to stay there for sure.
And as you mentioned, like I think that we all desperately need to find a way, like to jam, online somehow,
Yeah.
but be on time. But so far, I don't think that's possible. I
No, it
did
doesn't
a
exist really, right?
Yeah, I don't think I did a jam with Ana Tiju from Chile, and she's great. I love her. She's an amazing hip hop artist and very involved with uh, political situation in Chile, and we tried to jam on one of her songs, 1977, and it really did not work that well.
Right, because of latency, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, and you're not even aware because you're playing, and then
Yeah.
you think it's fine, but I think I don't think it sounded good.
Yeah, we tried something similar before this tour. We decided to bring back go-go dancers for this one tour, which Horrorpops, some are not aware, but we stopped having go-go dancers with us by the time the third album came about. But we were like, let's just put on a show. Let's have go-go dancers, which meant Rita, fortunately, our old go-go dancer, could still do it. She lives in Florida. And then we had to find a new go-go dancer, Kelly. And so they had to teach each other these dances online. And then, so we would do it. So we set it up that, Kelly and I was in my living room, and then Rita would be on the computer. And then, they would do the dances together in front of to show me. And I was like, no, you guys are so off. You have to clap on one and you're clapping on two. And yeah, it took me a little while to realize, well, yeah, the latency from live streaming didn't work right.
How do you pick your go-go's?
I don't pick them. I think they pick us. The first go-go dancers were actually my sister, Djordje, and Henrik's girlfriend at that time, Jeanette. And then the next pair was whom a lot of you guys know, Camilla and Mille. And those two girls, we actually worked together at the same piercing shop in Copenhagen. So we were together every day. So it's like, yeah, hey guys, do you want to, dance to our songs? And they did. And so that's how that came about. Then later on, we actually did tryouts for dancers. And I think you can actually still find them online with a little Googling, Horrorpops tryouts, which was an amazingly awkward experience, but also really fun. Yeah.
KJ is asking you, did you always make the dresses for the go-go dancers or just for this last tour?
I always,
they're beautiful.
Thank you. I always made the dresses, of course. The last thing I would want to happen on stage, I mean, we don't have any rules when we perform, but one rule I do have is I don't want any wardrobe malfunctions. And the best way to secure that was that I just made those dresses. They're all mounted on heavily steel-boned corsets, so nothing moves in there and nothing can fall out.
And you're a professional. I don't know how to say that, like tailor or like dressmaker or. Right?
Yeah.
So you studied that.
Yeah, I studied that. I'm a pattern drafter. So in this world, you have a designer who does a little sketch, fancy sketch. Oh, I want my design to look like this. And at the other end, you have the seamstress that has to sew it. In between those two is the person that looks at this drawing and says, okay, how does that actually work? It's like a blueprint for a house. It's all mathematically, calculated how to make. That's a pattern drafter. That's what I do. That's my education, but mainly geared towards historical clothing, preservation, so working in museums and stuff like that.
Well, somebody's mentioning my daughters would be great go-go dancers, 7 and 12, and they do a lot of dance classes.
Good. They should keep on it. It's a little too young to play rock and roll venues with, age restrictions. So
Uh, even in Europe?
I don't know about. I don't know
Is-
about all of Europe. I know in Denmark there's no such restrictions. I mean,
No,
you
we
can go
don't have.
buy alcohol for your parents at any age,
Yeah.
I guess.
Same in Serbia. I remember that I was able to have a drink when I was 12 or something.
Yeah, it's
No.
it's a part of the upbringing, and I do think America's got that wrong. The relationship with alcohol has really got messed up somehow. It's become this thing that's like kind of illegal, which makes it more interesting for any teenager that ever existed. If something is not allowed, you're totally gonna go for it. But if you're forced to drink wine with your parents at dinner from a very young age, where you think it tastes like shit and it's more like a duty than a experience, then you get a more natural relationship with alcohol.
I agree with that. Joshua is asking, would you ever have a guy go-go dancer? Because
Yes.
he's so
And
in.
I wanted it I wanted to do that for this tour. I wanted two gorgeous guys, just all feathered out, and Kim said no.
Maybe you can have like a two dudes on your side of a stage and two girls on his side of a stage, or the
Yeah,
opposite.
That would work. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Let's see. What are your and Necroman's favorite Warped Tour memories?
Whew, Warped Tour. We did two Warped tours. We did one in 2005 and one in 2008. And Warped Tour is tough. It's a tough tour. The one in 2005, we did in a van with no air conditioning, and this is during the summer in parking lots with no shade, and it's tough. I don't know if I have a favorite. I have a lot of favorite moments. I don't know if I can pick one out, and it is many years ago. I don't know.
Natalia says that go-go dancing for the Horrorpops would be the gig of a lifetime. So
Good to know.
lots of
Now,
people.
let's move on from the go-go dancing and the clothing and all that, because this is a show about bass playing.
Yes. No, it's about you. So all
okay.
the aspects of your career and that you like,
2 seconds.
telling to the fans.
Can I have one cup coffee? I'm back.
All right, the last one, like for go-go dancers. Lux Interior was good at being a go-go dancer for his band while also being the frontman.
Very, very good point. And if there's a Lux Interior out there that can pull off those like low-cut pants and those high heels, you got a job.
You don't think that Kim would be able to do that?
I don't want to see Kim being able to do that.
All right, so I remember you were touring with Offspring, right?
Yes.
How was that tour?
Great. It was amazing. An experience of a lifetime for sure. I mean, Offspring, those guys are so down to earth and so sweet. Like, we got on that tour by some amazing luck. We spent all the savings we had on, trying to rent a tour bus, because you had to have a tour bus to follow that tour. You couldn't do it in a van. But then we did, as usual, Horrorpops. We did some weird calculation between dollars and the euro. So we ended up not having enough money. We didn't have money for food. Like, we were starving, quite literally starving. We couldn't afford to buy food. And then, the Offspring guys found out, and they were almost like giving us their credit card and saying, here, just use this. But because that's the kind of people they are, true punk rockers, where it's about the community and supporting each other. So they got us signed off with their catering, and so that was awesome. great experiences. Also, very weird experience. We played a stadium in Paris. Is it called the Daci or something like that? It's a very, very big stadium. What is it? 60,000? I don't know. A lot of people. And for some reason, for that show, another band had been added as well. But everything for the show, like all promotion said, Offspring with Horrorpops as support or Offspring +1. But for this show in Paris, it still said Offspring +1. So this first band goes on, great band. I can't remember what they're called, but they go on and they go off. And then people are expecting Offspring to come on. And instead we come on stage and people are not happy. So we were playing in front of thousands and thousands of French people going, boo! And I mean, again, the story about how great Offspring are. Noodles, the guitarist, came out on stage with us and told them off and played with us. And then, that was, again, they're a great band to tour with.
It's such a cool story. I didn't know. Is that the largest audience that you played for with Horrorpops?
Yeah. Kim, do you remember how big the stadium in Paris?
16,000.
16,000. Yeah, I think that must have been the biggest.
Yeah, Offspring were playing for pretty large crowds.
Yeah.
Lots of people wanna know what was the reason for taking a break from the music industry?
As I said, as a band, we didn't really have a plan or knew what was going to be our last show or that, we were not going to play. For me personally, there was some other aspects going on. I've never been comfortable with this whole persona that comes along with playing in a band, and it's gotten worse over the years. Like if you look at, up until and with the 80s, if you were in a rock band, you could do outrageous things and be weird and be, not approachable, and everybody was cool with that. But then the whole online thing in the early 2000s required all of a sudden as a musician that it wasn't enough to just play and record, but you had to promote yourself constantly online and be the whole look at me. And the fans also required more from you than just the performance. I mean, they want to get into your life and know everything about you and be able to connect with you at any moment. And I'm still not comfortable with any of that. It's not why I became a musician at all. So I just went, I'm not gonna have any online activity. I'm not gonna have a Facebook or Instagram or any of that. I just want to be me and do what I do without having to be as approachable to everybody. So it was funny because before I opened up an Instagram last year, I was did the thing you're not supposed to do. I Googled myself and, wrote in Patricia Day in Google. And the first thing that came up at the time, there was actually two things. The first that came up was, where is Patricia Day? And the second one was Patricia Day is fat. And that just really, narrowed it down for me what I didn't like about where I had ended up as a musician. It wasn't about me playing or the music I write. It's about how I look. And I wasn't cool with that. And I'm still not cool with that. And it's a shame because any musicians used to be ugly and everybody was okay with it, Elton John would never be Elton John today because he just doesn't have the looks for it, in many's opinion. I mean, I think he's gorgeous, but you don't see a lot of women over 40. You don't see women, that are large in popular music, because somehow it's just become all about the looks and not what you're able to do. And I just didn't want to take part in that at all. And if I wanted to gain weight or lose weight or eat cake all day, that's my fucking decision and has nothing to do about how I play. Actually, as a vocalist, my vocal is way better if I'm 30 pounds heavier. It's the unfairness of being a woman in this industry.
Do you think that things changed for you as a musician from when you started until now, or in the industry?
Yes, things have changed a lot to the better.
Better?
Yes, for sure. I mean, except from the whole look and online thing. But as a musician, like when I started out, I was the only girl in a whole building of rehearsal rooms. The only one. And the amount of times I got asked if I wanted to give a blowjob and not play the guitar, it's just ridiculous. And now that's changed. I mean, and guys are not any longer all about, oh, we can't have a girl in the band. It's become more and more normal. Like even in our little small world of psychobilly, when Necromantics got Lux on board, everybody was like, oh, it's gonna suck. She's a girl can't play. Like, what is this? She was a great drummer. She is a great drummer. But I mean, it has become better and easier. For me personally, the beginning was tough. And then as I got successful, some things actually did come easier to me because I'm a girl. I got full endorsement from Gailey and Kruger, which is something Kim never got. I guess they wanted a girl, so that helped, so, but in overall things are getting better and easier.
So you think that things are getting easier for women in this industry?
Yeah. As long as you're not trying to become a pop star where, you have to have the looks with you or you're not going to make it,
So you think is it harder like in the pop, or was it always like that?
No, I mean, you've had previously, like look at all the great female front women from the 60s, but then again, it gotten worse with the whole Kardashian thing where it's all about look and not talent. So but now it's more you have you have to prove even more that you actually have a talent and it's not just about boobs or whatever.
So it's all about that bass.
It's all about the bass,
yeah. And as a woman musician, what advice can you give to other females starting out? Are there any pros and cons?
It's great now because there's more female musicians talking about these issues. There's a lot of advice out there. When I started out, it was really a surprise to me how often I would get pointed out as being a girl. Like when I pick up an instrument, and that would be my suggestion. When you pick up an instrument, you're not a gender. You're not a guy or a girl. You're a person playing an instrument. And just keep thinking that and keep doing that and don't care. Get mad when needed to, yell at people when they're being assholes and pointing it out. But, just do your thing. That's all I can say.
And one thing that I don't have an experience, obviously, and I mean, not that obviously, but like, how do you play with heels on stage and slap the bass and all of that?
You don't have any experience? You should try it.
No. Maybe I should. Maybe I will.
Let's hope that will be the last girly question here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like Lux from Necromantics, who played drums in high heels, it's actually helps her play because, a double kick, your feet are in this position. So the heels actually helps her play better. I think that's my theory. As far as wearing high heels and playing bass, it's all about of please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall. I think I've only fallen 3 or 4 times. And I've not done it elegantly any of the times I've fallen. It's always been skirt up, legs out. But, shit happens. What are you going to do?
Angel is asking you if you could play bass with any other band. What band would that be?
I would love to play bass for another band. Any band. So is anybody out there that needs a bass player? I'm down. I would love to be able to just focus on bass and actually develop that, not having to be the band leader and the songwriter and having all these things in my head, but the bass. Who would I love to play with? I mean, I would love to play with Tom Waits, but I know Fantomas would kick me if I ever got that gig and he didn't. If I ever got to be in the same room with Nick Cave, Jesus, I would die for that.
So which part of Nick Cave's career you like the most? Are you more like a birthday party type of thing, or like later on, or like?
I love all of it. I do tend to like his more drugged out period. Bad Seeds for sure.
I remember that first album that I really got into Nick Cave was what is Let It
Let Love In?
Yeah, Let Love In.
Mm-hmm. My first one as well. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I love that one, and I got into the older ones and then later ones as well. But I think that around Boatman's Call, I kind of stopped a little bit, like I haven't followed what he did after that. A question that I wanted to ask you. Joshua is asking you, did you really break the stand-up bass for your second album?
Yes, I really broke a stand-up bass for the second album.
And so it was on purpose, just for the
yes.
shoot?
Yes.
That's the one, right?
Yes. It was a backup, and it was messed up, and it was okay. And it was really fun to see the reaction, because you see Jimi Hendrix put fire on his guitar and it was like, oh wow. But if you do that to an upright bass in this community, people are like, they take it personally.
It looks kind of sad. Where's that bass now?
The broken one?
Yeah.
I wonder, do we still have it? We might still have it in pieces somewhere. Kim says firewood.
Oh, really? It's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, I think we probably still have the neck for sure. But yeah.
Last time when I was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I saw Horrorpops photo. I forgot if they had like some items of you, but it was. I remember that you had. There was a photo of all of you.
Really?
You see that?
I didn't know that.
It's pretty cool, right?
I think you're making this up.
I'm not making it up.
I think you're making it up. Yeah, you must make it up.
Just go to Cleveland. Trust me.
Okay.
I mean, they have since this year they have a Tiger Army display as well, like pretty big display.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, there's like a couple people over there that are really into roots stuff. So I think, I'm not sure who's the person or a girl making those decisions. But anyway.
Oh,
so
wow,
I saw your photo at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I hope it was a good photo then.
And that was a few years ago.
Now, I know my mom is watching this. Did you pay attention, Mom? Did you hear that? I'm in Hall of Fame, apparently.
Does she care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, yes.
Your mom?
She FaceTimed me the other day, and she was wearing like a Horrorpops beret and a jacket that said Psychobilly across it, and skull necklace. And yeah, she's very much into it.
Oh wow. Savage Doll asking you what lead you want to play the bass. How did you learn? I guess you answered that.
Yes.
And
watch from the beginning.
Yeah, watch the replay and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Very important.
Subscribe, yes. Mhm.
Jonathan is asking, are you and Kim giving out candy to the trick or treaters?
We've never we've never ever been able to do that because we always play on Halloween and we
Oh,
always wanted to do it. I mean, I would love to scare the shit out of kids. Like, I would love to. Kim would enjoy it. Make the parents cry too. Probably start some fights. But yeah, we haven't been able to go because we always played. And then these last couple of years, where we haven't played, well, Necromantics is often on tour around Halloween. But then now we moved to an area of LA that's very hilly and scary, and we're on a dead end street, and nobody dares come down this end. Like, you see
wow.
a stranger sometimes come down the street, and then they just back the hell out real fast. So no trick or treaters here.
No. Is it forbidden this year? What's going
Yeah,
on?
I think so. I think it is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I'm not quite up to date with the rules. But yeah.
The thirsty crowds are asking, what horror pop song are you the most proud of and why?
That's a tough one because, as you know, Thirsty Crows, when you have songs, they're all your children, and you can't say you like one more than the other because that would hurt the other children.
Lucky is asking your thoughts about Mike Patton.
Who?
Mike Patton.
Who? I'm lost.
The singer from Faith No More and singer from other bands.
Oh,
A few bands.
great voice. I mean,
Yeah.
Faith No More, come on. Wow, I haven't heard that name in many years.
Mike Patton was always like one of my favorite actually singers in rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Bungle, like it's also
Oh, yeah.
I mean, crazy stuff.
Oh,
That
wow,
that
you
guy-
really just pulled up the 90s on me right there.
yeah. Well, Lucky asked you that.
Yeah.
I'm glad he asked you about Mike because there's maybe there's a couple other singers in rock music in last a few decades that I respect as much as I respect Mike Patton.
Mhm.
I was supposed to actually work with him like a couple of years ago, and it did not happen. But who knows? Maybe it will one of these days. Let me see what else are people asking. Well, big kiss from Serbia fans.
Hi, Serbia fans.
Yeah. See, more people are asking for Horrorpops merch.
Okay, I hear you. I hear
You
you.
see?
As long as you don't say I'm a sellout or whatever because we're selling merch, not doing shows, then okay, I'll trust you guys' opinion on that.
Oh, funny thing, we talked about Mike Patton and Mr. Bungle.
Oh, they're doing a live stream show today? Ooh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Ooh, my favorite author is also doing a live stream today. So, ooh, a busy day.
Busy day for live streams. It's so. I mean, I'm happy and I'm sad at the same time. It's just like, oh my god! Like, is there anything? When we're gonna be playing?
Yeah.
Yes. Let me see. How heavy is your bass?
12 kilos.
It's not 12 kilos. Oh, yeah, it's 22 pounds. It's 23 and a half pounds in its case, which is just the foam case.
Uh-huh.
So Kim says it's 12 kilos. I'm not quite sure.
Is it comparable to Kim's bass? Is it
Oh, no.
similar? No.
No, it used to be about 1.5 kilo lighter than it is. But Kim decided to try out a new lacquer on my bass, which added like this much lacquer on it. And it made just a difference where I can't lift it with one arm any longer, which really pisses me off.
Oh,
Kim says the coffin bass is 9 kilos, just so you know.
All right. Zoe is asking, who is your favorite author? You mentioned somebody.
Where did he go? There, Neil Gaiman.
Ah, okay. And the same person that asked you about Meteors and Reverend Horton Heat asked you, would you ever agree to go on tour and play with Brian Setzer? If he asked.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I couldn't. I don't know if like to play with him or just support.
I don't know. I think this was connected to the question when someone asked you like, which band would you be able to play? Would you like to play bass for?
I would love to. I would love to. That would be fun.
Were you ever a Stray Cats fan?
Huh?
Were you ever a Stray Cats fan?
No, it came later. Like the whole Billy scene came after Horrorpops. I got introduced to it with Horrorpops, and it's funny because Horrorpops we never claimed ourselves that we were a Billy band or psychobilly, rockabilly, whatever. What we've claimed is what we named ourselves: horror pop or horrible at playing pop. Or yeah. So that whole scene adopted us as a band, and I adopted their music as I got to know it. But it was recent years.
I think it's like whenever people see you slapping an upright bass and you have a guitar and pompadours, people see you as some kind of Billy band.
Yeah, but that's about looks. And Mythos is a famous psychobilly band that doesn't have an upright bass on most albums, I believe. Yep. Other bands I've heard, has an upright bass and has nothing to do with Billy. I don't think psychobilly is a music style, to be quite honest, at all. Because it's so heavily influenced from so many genres that you can't just pinpoint it. It's easy to say, oh, it has an upright bass, it's Billy. But if you listen to Horrorpops, there's not a lot of psychobilly in there when it comes down to it.
So no rules in psychobilly.
Well, that was how it used to be. It seems to me that there's more and more rules now, which I actually wrote a song about called Freaks in Uniforms.
Oh,
hint, hint.
Okay. It's all I care, I mean, the show is about you, but my opinion was always like, if there are good songs, they're good songs, and that's pretty much all I care about.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it. Oh, this is interesting. Hi, Patricia. I don't think you mentioned. Did you mention Neil Gaiman?
Neil Gaiman, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know his wife was a musician. No, I wasn't aware. I'll check it out.
Do you know Amanda Palmer?
No.
Oh, okay. You might actually like her. She has very interesting approach.
Okay, I'll check it out. See, that's how I get introduced to a lot of music. Like with my former band, Peanut Pumpkin, after a show, a person came up to me and said, "Oh, you sound just like Susie and the Banshees." And I was like, "Who?" Oh, and I listened to Susie and Banshees, like, oh, I can actually hear that. I can hear that reference way more than I can hear No Doubt, which I think I only get compared to because that was the most female or most famous female, for a lot of years. But it's kind of like, if it was rare that a guy was a vocalist, that, people say, oh, you sound just like Elvis, because that's the one reference. Anyway, side point. And then I remember for the second album, I was playing around with what ended up becoming Hit and Run. And one of our go-go dancers says, that sounds just like Pretenders. That's like a Pretenders song. I was like, who? Oh, and then I checked out Pretender. I was like, ooh, that's really good.
You might like Amanda Palmer. She was a member of the band Dresden Dolls.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, and I'm kind of friends. I never met her, but I'm friends. We have lots of mutual friends that I played with and she played with. Very, very artistic, and you might like her. She's very active. I would say.
You know what? I think it's time to play a little.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yes, I gotta pee. So entertain everybody for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. So that's the deal, while Patricia is getting ready and while Kim is getting ready, I guess, make sure to use this pause wisely. subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button. And also, please click on that bell and all notifications. Apparently, that's what it really means to YouTube to help out, bring these videos to other viewers. And if you haven't seen my old Slapstream videos where I feature other slap-based players, make sure to check them out. There's a playlist called Slapstream Live from Slapsville. And if you like Patricia, you should probably check out Kim's Slapstream that I did. I think we did it maybe a month ago or so, and it went great. And I'm really glad to have them both.
Best show ever.
So have you heard that? Best show ever. And it was the longest for a long time.
Well, not anymore, huh?
Yeah, see, I think that there's one or two longer now. But anyway, like, make sure to check them out. Check out the Slapstream, subscribe. Check out if you really like the show, consider supporting. There's a Venmo and PayPal links under the video, in the description of the video, and there's a Patreon. Patreon is probably the best way to support. And here's Patricia back.
Hello.
And she is ready to rock
Or something.
or roll.
Probably roll since it's me. So, what should we play? Let's see. What are people writing? What should we play?
Oh,
Guys.
lots of suggestions. So let's see what are the latest suggestions. It's hard to scroll and let me see. Walk Like a Zombie is the last suggestion.
Okay, it's Halloween. We should play Walk Like a Zombie.
All right. So
Okay.
let's do that.
All right.
Is him ready to take off his clothes?
He's put on his clothes again.
So
Ah.
my emails was blowing up with people saying they couldn't hear the guitar.
All right. So
Okay,
louder, guitar
What are we gonna do
louder.
about that?
Let's just play a little verse of Ghouls to check levels.
Let me.
Okay, so
We're
please,
just gonna.
viewers, check out your speakers and let us know more guitar or whatever you want to hear the most.
Okay.
Let's just try a verse of Ghouls to see if we're on the same thing.
Deeper bass.
Just play from the beginning. Can you hear that?
I think it sounds good. Guitar is definitely louder than it was. Says it's good. Jeanette says, I mean, I assume that means good. Levels are good.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So what are we playing again?
Walk like a zombie.
Oh yeah.
And wait, we've been
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
walk like zombie. You talk like zombie. It's not in your build a little castle and you wanna name a kid Patricia and faster now. All the friends you bring are always there. And you howl at the moon. Oh, 6 feet under, you make me wonder. You want to be on that, so you can be on that. Whatever you gonna do, I'm gonna follow ya. You make me wanna follow you.
You wanna be haunted, so you can be haunted.
Whatever you gonna do, I'm gonna follow you. And you wanna hold hands and seven. And you wanna be lost for all eternity. And everything's dark, kind of scary. And you make the whole moon. I don't care.
And you want a mountaintop with a little castle. And you wanna name a kid Patricia and faster.
I know that you bring
I'm always there.
and you howl at the moon. I don't care. Guitar solo. Watch that man there. Oh. And you wanna hold hands in the cemetery, and you wanna be lost all eternity, and everything's dark, kind of scary, and you break the whole moon. I don't care.
And you want an mountaintop with a little castle.
And you wanna name a kid Patricia and faster, around all the flash you bring.
I'm always there.
And you howl at the moon. I don't care. Wow. Where's that tail? You sound like a cat. Meow. Okay.
That's awesome. How does it feel play again?
Weird. And now that everybody asked for the guitar louder, I can't hear shit. And playing in my living
really?
room in front of an unknown amount of audience is really, really awkward. But you know, rock and roll, right?
Yeah, rock and roll 2020.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah. Let me see. Like someone asked, and I can find that comment now. They asked you, like, do you and Kim do this on a regular basis? Oh, here it is. Lucky. Do you and Kim play and sing like this normally, just day to day?
No. If one of us starts singing like in the shower or whatever, then the other one comes running out and sings along. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
I don't know how to read this, but they asked to see your dogs. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
the dogs
we
are
don't want to wake them up
public
because then it's
people.
going to be barking for the rest of the time.
Oh, they're sleeping with all this music. You made them fall asleep, huh?
Well, they do when we play. Like that's our trick for 4th of July and stuff. When there's a lot of fireworks that scares them, we try what everybody else is like. Put on loud music to like diffuse the fireworks sounds. That didn't work. But Horrorpops and Necromantics, that puts them right to sleep.
Those are the lullabies. Any particular songs or
Nope, just
not?
that.
Anything? This is a weird experience, but like, did it? How can you? Have you noticed any difference between touring 10 years ago and 20 years ago and this year?
Yes.
Was it different?
Yes,
How?
very much different. Well, you know what? people that tour knows this, but for outsiders, 99% of a tour is traveling on roads and being at gas stations. And what we do is we often crash at the nearest truck stop. And I've never been, before I was never worried, stay at truck stops. Yeah, I mean, you see a few, what's it called? Lot lizards. But, I was never worried. I just, would walk out of the tour bus with the towel over my head or around my body. And, I was never concerned. But this year, shit's changed. Like, first of all, the amount of homelessness, the amount of, drug related things you see in the gutters and everywhere. It's just everywhere. And, for the first time on this tour, I actually had to, ask either, one of the crew guys or Kim or Henrik, like, hey, can you walk with me to the showers at the truck stop? Because I actually got, approached uncomfortably several times, which that has never happened before. But I guess, there's more, because there's, people have less money, people fall easier. There's more prostitution at these outskirts of cities, and more violence. And you really feel that compared to 10 years ago.
And have you noticed the same changes in Europe? Oh, you haven't toured Europe, right?
Horrorpops haven't been in Europe since 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that 2005, that was the year that was a crazy touring year. That was 11 months of nonstop touring. And yeah. And I think we went twice to Europe with that year. And Kim was like, fuck it, I don't want to play Europe for a very, very long time. Which he then broke with Necromantics and did it anyways, but we never returned. We would like to someday, maybe. At least play our hometown, play Copenhagen, see friends would be great. Play London, see family.
Did you have plans like to go and tour Europe like for this comeback tour, or it was just US?
Well, as I said, we only thought we were going to play these shows, but we've gotten offers to play. So, when this whole COVID crap is over, then we'll see.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody's hoping that you're going to be able to, that you're going to tour more and more. And Lyrics is asking an interesting question. How do you feel working with your husband? I would have strangled mine by now.
Oh, I strangle him on a daily basis. It's for you, those of you who know Horrorpops history. For many years, we didn't acknowledge our marriage. We didn't talk about our marriage. When we were asked in interviews about whether or not we were married, we would say no or deflect some other way. We would just not talk about it. 2 seconds. And the reason was that when we go on tour together, gender is not a part of the equation. And when gender is not a part of the equation, neither is relationship or marriage. And that would also be awkward for Henrik. Like, so he's this drummer that tours with a married couple. That would be. So when we go on tour, we're mates, we're friends. We don't hold hands or cuddle, or we don't even consider each other husband and wife at all when we're on the road. And that's what makes it work for us. That we're married, that's something that happens here in our home. And this is the first time we ever invited anybody into our home, with you now, which is a big step for us. But it's a first step. Maybe we'll take a second step. We've been talking about doing an online show. So in our home, we'll see.
So how about that? Is that going to happen? How will people find out about it?
We will post if we do it.
Okay.
You follow the links below.
Yes. All Patricia links are under this video, so make sure to follow her, and then you'll find out all the news. I guess this last song inspired lots of people to ask you a couple questions. Do you guys have a couple song?
No.
Okay. And Mary, I want you to know that "Walk Like a Zombie" will be played and featured in my wedding next year.
Thank you and congratulations and good luck.
And I hear the dogs. Bring them on screen.
No, not mine.
And
Love. Might have been the neighbors, not mine.
Yeah.
They're awfully quiet right now. We want to keep it that way.
and this is the first super sticker. Oh, super chat. Sorry. And
What's a super chat?
that's when people want to support the show, they can. I think it's under the live chat, and people, and then that way the comment is featured on top. It's a different color, and there's like different stickers and stuff. So it's
Oh, that's neat.
some-
Oh,
it's
more of
something
those.
it's something that YouTube allowed me to have. I think
Yeah,
2
do
or
more of
3
those.
episodes ago.
Djordje is doing a really good job at this. You should check out all the other ones as well. Ooh, look at that one, a big one.
Those are pesos,
Oh.
but I appreciate all of them equally. Did you guys do? Did you go to Japan?
Yes, we've been to Japan and loved it. That was a part of that year, 2005, of that 11 months tour. And I guess I've been talking to Fantomas about it because he's been over there playing a lot, or more often than I have, at least since. Like my experience with a Japanese audience was very old school compared to how it is now. Again, I mean, internet changed the world and all that. But when we played Japan, I guess culturally it was considered rude to be noisy during musicians playing. So in between songs, there's complete silence. Like people don't clap or scream or yell or anything, which we didn't know about this. So we were like, what? They don't like us? And you can actually find that whole show online. Just Google Horrorpops in Japan and it'll pop up, and laugh at those awkward silences between the songs. It's funny.
LMPC asks, I want to hear the story of how Patricia Day became a horror fan when she was a kid.
Things haven't changed a lot since I was a kid. Like I actually get scared by horror movies. I really do get scared. I like pee my pants a little scared, I watch half the movie behind a pillow. I still do to this day. So I think the first horror movie that, still like the images are still clear in my head. I must have been 5, and I'm not even sure it's considered a horror movie. Was it called Videodrome or something like that, where he pulls out videotape from his stomach? Oh, that freaked me out. Today I like classic horror movies, not the ones where jump out and scare you, but the more psychological, long scenes with nothing happening. I do enjoy that stuff.
And LMPC, thank you for your donation and your super sticker. There's a few. Okay, so Casey, he wants to know: is there extra fingerboard on the bass side? The string seems to be very far towards the treble side. Is that for comfort?
Yes, actually, it's ridiculously amount pushed over. I'll show you. You see? This one is almost outside of the fingerboard. And yes, it is for comfort. It gives me all this space to triple slap on without touching strings, so it doesn't sound like a clonk mistake. And it lifts the string off from the fingerboard more. I just like that positioning.
It's interesting. I saw that like one other guy did something similar, not that extreme. Gilles Chevecheri from France, an amazing slap bass player. He did his G string. It's kind of in the line with the fingerboard,
Yeah.
kind of like yours, but he has less space on the E string. But so that space in the E string is more for slapping. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for the triples, that's where I hit.
Okay.
So I'm not doing it on the string. I'm doing it out here more.
Got it.
I like that sound better, I guess.
Like without the strings.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have a slap pickup behind the fingerboard?
Yeah, but all the way up here.
All the way there.
Yeah,
Okay.
because here, as I know that some people place it further down. To me, I think it gives too much tone in the click sound. So I like it up higher, so it's more high pitch.
Oh, since you have your bass in your hands, let's do these bass questions. Before that, I want to thank to Casey Hines. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Casey.
And that's a super chat. So this whole YouTube thing is new and pretty exciting, I gotta say, for me. So thank you for all of your support. Jeanette is asking any tips for people learning to play slap bass.
Any tips? First off, I would say get some good gear, or take some time finding gear and pickups, because you can stand in your living room and the way your instruments sound, especially a cheaper upright bass, is not always conducive, or it's not always helpful for your playing. Getting a good sound makes you feel better, so get an amp. So you get good low end, and you can you can hear the vibrations better. Get two pickups. I know some, especially in the beginning, a lot of people start out with just one pickup, probably placed in the bridge or whatever. If you do that, then you won't get much slap, and especially as you're learning, you really want to get that slap loud and defined so you can hear what you're doing wrong. That would be, I guess, my suggestion.
And we started talking a little bit about the different slaps that you're using. Do you mind showing and telling us what kind of nomenclature you're using when you're explaining slaps, or when the way you're thinking? Are you thinking about single slaps, double slaps, triple slaps? Do you count just the pulls and the slap? How does that work in the?
I never told anybody to play bass, so I've never had to describe what I'm doing. And most of the time when I'm talking about playing upright bass, I say I go clickety clackety clonk, which I think is the most accurate description of what I'm doing most of the time. But if I'm to think about it, I mean, what terminology I use, I mean, actually, I don't ever play just without slapping. I always slap, and one slap is that. And then there's a double, and then there's a triple. Oopsie. I should probably plug in. Now you should be able to hear it better. So one slap, two, double, and triple.
Do you ever use pull without actual slap, palm slap?
No.
Like just tunk tunk tunk?
No,
No, okay.
I don't think so. I mean, I might. I don't think so. Not on purpose. Necroman says I do.
Okay. How do you call that?
Clickety clackety clunk.
Oh, okay. That's a clunk.
I mean, all bands, or in this scene, in the psychobilly scene, like Tiger Army, a lot of the songs when bass wise is dang dang get dang dang get dang get dang dang get dang. That's a repetitive pattern that's often used with Horrorpops. It's dang 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 dang. That's our turn. We always go back to that.
It's interesting. All right, I like that. I like that explanation. But you're right about that's when I joined Tiger Army. I noticed, that's kind of the pattern that happens, I guess,
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah, we all have
And-
them. Patterns.
That's cool because I think that kind of defines band's sound as well. It's
It
not
does.
good to be limited to something, but it's cool to have your own sound somehow.
Yeah, and then it's when you have a pattern you return to, like if we're out not knowing what the fuck we're doing in a song, which happens quite often, Henrik and I always fall back to that pattern until we're locked in together again, and then we can continue. It's like it's a safety belt as well.
It's all about that pocket. Thank you, Emil.
Oh, you mean?
another
Thank you. Family.
super
That's my family right there.
Oh, really? Okay. Are your fingers all calloused?
No.
Nope.
No.
You don't have calluses?
No.
Oh,
Again,
good.
I've been playing guitar since I was 6 or 7. I think all my nerve ends are dead in this hand, and they're square. And I have really ugly playing hands from playing. Like my hands are twisted and weird. Because I think then starting to play that young, it's just messed up my fingers. As far as looking pretty, at least. They're good for playing, but not for much else. So yeah, no. Again, as I said earlier, after I got in-ear, which I would recommend, if you can even now you can get cheap in-ear systems. And if those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I say in-ear, it's a monitor system that puts sound straight in your ears, and you can run that sound yourself today. You don't even need to travel with a monitor guy. You can actually run it all off an iPad, and gives you the sound in your ears the way you want it. You can actually turn down the guitarist, which is an amazing feature. But since I started playing with in-ear, I don't wreck my hands the same way because I can hear clearly what I'm doing. Sometimes a little too much.
Aurelia says, thank you for the show. We love it. And she loves Patricia.
Oh,
Thank
I
you,
love
Waki.
you too, sweetheart.
And quite I can't find now comments, but a few people asked about if you ever gonna have your own line of clothes.
I'm not a fashion designer, and against popular belief, I really don't give two shits about fashion. I have no clue. When I look at clothes, I look at, will it hide what I want to hide? Well, but I mean, I'm not ruling out that maybe if this COVID thing continues, maybe I should put out a few dresses as a line, but it will be, my focus would be on making a dress that is comfortable to wear, but still enhance what you enhance and hide what most girls wants to hide. So that's kind of a difficult thing to make into a line of clothing, but I would love to try, I guess.
That's all we want. So there's a chance. All right. All right, back to your bass. How many basses you have? Not in your house, because I think that in your house you probably have 100, but like the
Of
Patricia
my
baby,
my own personal bases.
your own personal.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Were
Yeah.
they all made by Kim?
Yeah. No, one isn't. But yeah.
So that one, is it like a traditional bass?
Yeah, it's an old K thing.
Okay.
Mm.
Also, it's is that kind of like both of yours or just yours?
Mainly mine.
Mainly yours. Okay. Do
It's
you
hard
ever play
because
that one?
the thing is, like, Kim, he's we've been together for so many years. There's not really a his or mine line anywhere. I wish there was sometimes, because like one of my other favorite bass to play, the one that doesn't have a cutaway, like 15 years ago, a new type of pickups came on the market, and Kim was like really curious about these pickups, and he's like, "Oh, I can't put them on any of the coffin bases." So he just grabbed that base and installed like big holes for pickups without asking me, which didn't make me happy, but at the time. But now I kind of like it because it's a metal string setup, so it's actually good for some things when recording.
Which pickup was that?
I don't know.
Blast cold EMGs.
He says Blast Cult EMGs.
Ah, so it were the magnetic pickups.
Yeah.
And do you have your favorite pickup system?
Yes, I do. For this setup with these, roto sound strings, what's it called? It's K&K preamp. It's the old one that's only a dual channel, which I think they stopped making. So hey, if anybody out there has the very first one of the K&Ks that's has one in and one out, and you don't want it anymore, contact me, because this is my last one, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when it dies, because I don't like the EQing on any of the newer ones. So. And then I have 2 piezo pickups. We already talked about, like one up here behind, and one in the bridge. And then here's a little trick that goes against everything you ever learn about how music is recorded and what's right and what's wrong. But I always record with my wireless system, because my wireless, which is Shure, is it called URD or something like that? It's like the Shure Pro line. That wireless, actually, it does something with the compression that just boosts some things, that just brings it in that sweet spot for my bass.
Oh, that's interesting. I never heard about that approach.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've argued with so many studio technicians over this. Like every time I'm like, they're like, they do the whole setup, and I'm like, sure, but let's just A/B it and tell me what sounds best afterwards. And they always end up choosing the wireless. It just does something to my sound.
That's interesting. Have you ever heard anyone else doing that?
No, I haven't.
What?
Anybody else recording wirelessly? You do? I didn't know that. Okay, apparently Kim does, but he doesn't use the same system I do. So I don't know if he has the same benefits, or if he just, I mean, put a cord onto Kim's bass, and Kim will land on his face within 3 minutes, because that guy moves around a lot when he plays.
And you're using which roto sound strings are you using?
I think it's it's like RB 4000 Superb or something like that. Yeah.
Are you doing also bumped over like him, or
bumped over? Yes, and with a tennis string out here.
Also, it's not regular C string.
No.
Oh, okay.
G is that's a tennis string.
You should both like get in touch with the roto sound people and have Patricia and Kim signature sets.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I think there would be a lot of people that would be very thankful, because it does make playing easier, in my opinion. But I mean, I also like a traditional metal string setup. It's just I like it for slow songs, and you can use like big 12s or 15 caps, and it really gives that fat bass sound. But for anything that's a little mid-tempo or high speed, I prefer these roto sounds.
So as far as cabs, what and amps, what are
Well,
you
this is one of those arguments. I use Galen Kruger 1001 RB, which I discovered. Kim started out with another amp that he borrowed from the bassist from Tiger Army, which was, what was that amp? Do you remember? It was an early model GK.
No, I borrowed it from Matt Freeman from Rancid.
Yeah, you bought it from Matt Freeman. That's what I said.
You said Tiger Army.
No, I said Tiger. I meant Rancid. Anyways, doesn't matter. Now we're going to argue again.
That was the old GK 800.
He says that was the old GK 800. Then we toured with Horrorpops with Roger Murray and the Disasters. And their bass player had this setup with the 1001. I was like, oh, that amp's really, let me, I like that amp. And I put it with whatever cabinets I had at the time. And I was like, oh, that really pushes the sound. But then I discovered the 410s, GK's 410 RBH. And those cabinets have this horn that is just superb. It just, night and day with that horn, it pushes out the click so clearly. And I swear by those cabs any time of day. I have on a normal small setup, and notice I said small setup, I have 4 of those cabs with me. So 2 on each side. My preferred setup, I have those 4, and then I have another 2 of the 412 Neos, Galen Kruger's Neos as well. But when I bring all those, we need to have a bigger trailer with us. I mean, the crew hate us. Each of those, like the 410 RBH caps, in their flight cases is 90 pounds a piece. And,
Wow.
Yeah.
So whenever you play, how many amps you have behind you for the bass?
Amps. So I run the 1001 as a main, and then I use I think it's called the Fusion or Hybrid 500. It's like a GK's hybrid. It's both what's it called with tubes. Yeah. And a regular. And it's weird that I run it as a slave of the 1001, but I like to use that setup because for some songs, really slow songs, the tubes actually gives a fatter sound, so I can do a quick switch. So 2 amps and 6 cabinets.
and as far as like I didn't remember. So as far as those 6 cabinets, how many of those are 10s?
4.
6 cabinets. Okay, so 4 of those are 10s in it.
Yeah.
And 4 10s.
4 410s and 2
in 4 of those.
4
And 2 12 and like 2
2
12s or 2.
16 10s.
So totally 16 10s and how many 12s?
8.
That was 8. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I know it's ridiculous, but it's awesome.
Well,
And that's
you're the
also
front lady of the band.
but that's also how I record. I also use all those caps because
All of that.
Yes. Now, I know this would probably, people will agree or disagree, but with this setup, again, with rotor sounds and not steel strings, every time we go into the studio, the engineers, they'll do the regular thing. I'll just stand there and pick my nose. They put up, microphones in front, mics in back, yada, yada. And I'm almost like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. And then put all my cabinets into a room, close mic, some of them, more importantly, remote, like far away in the room, put 1 or 2 microphones out there to distance away from the cabinets. And so what ends up happening every fucking time I record it, those acoustic microphones gets canceled. It just delete, doesn't work, doesn't sound great. And it ends up being my line out from my GK and the room, the far away room mics from my cabinets.
That's an interesting approach.
Again, for Horrorpops, I mean, any other band, any other style, it would be different. But for Horrorpops, that's the setup that works.
And how about microphones? Which ones are you using?
As I said, every time we put microphones to get the acoustics, they get deleted, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, so you don't do that. Oh, okay, but
Yeah, they end up not getting used because.
But for those cabs, are you putting microphones on them, or it's line
so
out?
there will be microphones on the cabs. One somewhere between the speaker and the horn, and one on the 12s, and then some out further away in the room.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a complex setup.
No, it's not. It's very simple.
Okay. And there were some questions about the fingerboard. Is that rosewood or what is that? Do you know?
Good question. I have no fucking clue. What is this?
I can't remember.
He can't remember.
Okay.
It's good wood.
It's good wood, he says.
It's good wood. All right. That's all that matters. And what else can I ask you about your gear? Let me see. Like a few people asked about it. I think that's it. We mentioned the strings. We mentioned the fingerboard. Mentioned the
You know what I
bass.
did?
Always,
I always when I get put on the spot, I'm really bad at remembering things and names and whatever. So I have this little cheat sheet right here.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
And that says everything I uses, and I'll take a picture of it and post it on my Instagram if you want.
All right, perfect. And who paints the basses?
Baby Lou, my best friend from back in Denmark, Louise, Baby Lou. We also wrote a song about her. She paints my basses.
Oh yeah, somebody asked like LMPC. We want to know about the art in the bass. Come on, that's it.
Well, there you go.
So he does that in Europe?
She, yeah.
Oh, she.
Yeah, she does that.
She does that in Europe. So you make. So how does that whole production?
How does that actual work? Well, this paint job was done by accident. I can't remember what year. We've been touring. We were going to stop in Denmark before continuing the European leg of the tour. And when we came in Copenhagen and I opened up the bass case, the bass was broken. Like the neck was broken off. And I don't mean like, because I, like other players do have this where I can remove the neck. But it was broken. The body was cracked, broken. We had 5 days before the first show. So we went to Baby Lou's house down in her basement and used all the tools and sanded it down, and then she painted it. So that wasn't a planned paint job, but that's what ended up happening.
It was after the Offspring tour.
Was that after the Offspring tour? It could have been. I'm not sure it was actually.
Yeah, because of the obstacle.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's this one has broken quite a few times. The whole front has been cracked. Actually, if you feel inside it, that happened on the Offspring tour. I kept the bass inside the tour bus where it was nice and warm. It was, winter time, feet and snow and stuff. And then you walk into these stadiums, these big empty halls that are just fucking cold. And this is old one-piece wood. And what do you call that? Carved. One carved.
Oh, it's a carved bass.
Yes, it is.
Carved top or full bass is carved?
Just the top.
Okay.
So because of the difference between in heat from warm bus to ice cold stadium, it cracked. So Kim had to fix. Like I played the show that night, just gaff taped it,
Wow.
and then Kim went in search for wood to repair it with, and there's not that many options on the road to find some wood. So you only get truck stops basically, and equal to Home Depots. There weren't any of those around. So at a truck stop, Kim bought Magnum ice creams, and those sticks from the Magnum ice creams is actually, there's a seam all the way down through it of Magnum ice creams that holding the base together.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
And so I assume he fixed it properly after that.
No, the Magnum ice creams are still in there. They work.
Very good wood.
Very good wood, he says in the background. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know?
Okay. Well, do you have a favorite bass out of all of these basses that he made for you?
This one.
That one? Oh, okay.
This one. He hasn't managed to make a fingerboard as soft and bouncy as this one and any of the other ones. It's not as soft and bouncy as on his own basis, but it's, you know, it's very, very forgivable.
Okay, so because of the fingerboard, not because of the shape and size of the body.
No, I don't really use this cutaway option much. I mean, what are you gonna do down here unless you play jazz? You're not really gonna do anything.
and it's,
so it's a place to put my Jägermeister.
so it's for the look. It's for the show.
No, it's also for the little bit of weight that it removes.
Oh, okay.
And for the sound. Funnily enough, cutting it away like this, and Lucia probably has some nerdy explanation to why, but it does something where it.
It's also slimmer.
Yeah, it's also slimmer. Kim's point. Now he's getting involved, but the cutaway boosts when you remove that, it boosts the D, which is a tone that I find is a little muted on a traditional bass. So there's that. But then we're getting really nerdy, and that's more like the Mr. Necroman Luthia department.
Okay.
I just point out things and I go like, I think something's weird here, and then he tries something out until it sounds the way I want it.
And you're just telling, just cut a little more of this bass.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And okay, so he mentioned it's a thinner bass than regular basses, right?
Yes, much thinner.
Okay.
Much thinner.
So lighter,
like regular
thinner,
would be
okay.
Here, right? Like that.
Okay. Well, I can't say like from here, but I trust you. And let me see. And the bridge, regular bridge?
I believe so.
Okay. And all right, and you're tuned regularly GDAE, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But with a tennis string.
Yeah.
Since you have bass in your hands, is there anything else that you would like to play?
I think we should play a song.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's time with a loud guitar.
You want to join us, Necroman?
I was about to take a shower.
You can't take a shower now.
You can do both at the same time.
So we played a rockabilly song. We played Walk Like a Zombie, which is a very traditional bass line. So let's play something that's a little more traditional Horrorpops, like rocky sound of kind of style. Yeah.
Let's do it.
What are you gonna play?
Mistake, maybe?
Let me hook up my gear here.
He's gonna hook up his gear on here.
Turn on.
A few people asked about the guitar as well. What kind of guitar is that?
It's a very good guitar.
That's all that matters.
No, this is a Sparrow guitar made in Canada. This is like a special edition made for me and also modified by me for me.
He has what I call the geriatric tremolo arm. I hate the look of that. That looks like you're yeah, that's a grandpa version right there.
Yeah, but it's nice because you put your palm in here and then you just rock away.
Yeah, I hate it, but
Whatever. Patricia hates my vibrato. Okay, what?
Count us in.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
satisfied smile. Touch me smile, oh, alright, alright. Like your father, you watch me come fast to all my life. I did it again. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied? So I did it again. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied? Aren't you satisfied? Aren't you satisfied? So maybe you were right. Maybe I'm not worth no fight. You being right is not. No, it's not nice. I wish we had brother to be as we were. I wish I could find good. I did it again. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied? So I did it again. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied? Aren't you satisfied?
Oh my God!
Hey!
Let's get that. Like this, you know, like this.
I did it again. It's forever. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied? So I did it again. I made a mistake. You're right now. Aren't you satisfied?
Aren't you satisfied?
Aren't you satisfied?
Aren't you satisfied, my love? Aren't you satisfied?
Aren't you satisfied? Don't go too far away there, Necroman. No, you're not done.
I need to take a break.
No, you don't need a break.
He needs a break. He's going for a shower.
Something or a poop, you know.
Are you guys supposed to do
Uh,
more?
What did he say?
He's like, are you supposed to talk a little bit more?
I thought it was off the hook.
Okay, you're off the hook for a few minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Kan je niet in helspestille verschoven?
Okay.
That was a little bit of Danish.
All right. Is it but a couple people asked about the logo. Who came up with the logo?
I think that is also Baby Lou that came up with that.
No.
No, actually, Necroman did. That's right. He did. He did the first drawings. Yeah.
She did the clean version.
Yeah, she did the very clean version. Hey, I don't. Some of you know, but Kim is also a tattoo artist, and Kim and Baby Lou used to work together. She was his teacher, like whatever that's called. Yeah, he was a journeyman. I don't know what the right terminology is. He was apprenticing with her. Yes. So.
And that's all in Denmark, right?
That's all in Denmark. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a cool logo. Lots of people, I still see that logo on people's skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that feel?
Weird.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, says Kim. It's really, really cool to see the logo tattooed. That's truly the biggest honor you can get as a band. I get a little freaked out when I see people that have a picture of me tattooed, and there's quite a few. There's one guy who has my whole face on the back of his head, and that's like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope I can live up to that, because times develops and things change and more wrinkles and stuff, But I guess, yeah, people get tattoos because, like, I have, of bands that I love, and I want to keep there forever sacredly on my skin. That's okay.
And so, what are the band's tattoos that you have?
I'm not gonna tell.
No, okay.
No.
Thanks to Jack. Jack said, "Happy Halloween. Stay sick. Stay psycho. Great Slapstream. Thanks, Djordje and Patricia."
Yes, thank you, Djordje.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. If you guys haven't seen the episode with Kim, make sure to check it out. It's also on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yes,
Because I plan to feature lots of bass players on the channel. Any suggestions from you, Patricia? Maybe like for future guests of the Slapstream.
Well, I would love to see Thomas Leroux. Well, is that how you pronounce his last name? I'm not sure. He's like Le Croix? No, not Le Croix. Whatever. He's an amazing bass player. I would love to see Jeff Refredo, because shit, I would like to learn from that guy. He's in this style of music, but also in other styles of music. What's his? He plays in a ska band. It's called Slaggers, I believe.
Agrolites?
Agrolites. Sorry, not Slaggers. Agrolites.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. I'm not good with remembering names, but man, that guy is so much in the pocket. It's unbelievable.
Jeff is really talented.
Yeah, he is.
Jeff. And I think it's time to see if I missed any questions. Oh, someone asked you, have you been quarantined all this time?
Yes, we have quarantined since March 11th. That's when Denmark shut its borders, and
okay.
we follow Danish news as much as American news, and American was a little slow in the uptick to get on this coronavirus thing. So, we saw what was happening, and we're like, okay, fuck it, we're just gonna close down everything and stay home. By March 16th, I was sewing masks for everybody I knew and trying to convince my friends to wear them, and they thought I was crazy. I am, but I was like, no, you're not wearing this to protect yourself. You're wearing this to protect everybody around you. Just fucking wear it. But I haven't seen another living person other than Kim since March 11th. I'm going a little stir crazy, to put it mildly.
It's a long one. It's crazy. Desert Psychobilly, what do your neighbors think when you guys play? Do any know who you are and what you do?
No, they don't know who we are or what we do, except for actually surprised one of our neighbors and with some tickets for the Wilton, because I knew he would be kind of into it. It's like, here's some tickets for this show. You should go watch. And I didn't tell him it was us. He was like blown away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah. But we're really fortunate with where we live. I can be naked anywhere on this property, and no one can watch us. We're very surrounded by nature, and don't really like the neighbors very far away. And that sounds like we're very wealthy and lives in Beverly Hills or something. It's not like that at all. We're very much in East LA, but East LA has some great fucking spots of nature to live in. And I need to be close to nature. I need to go out and hike every day and just be in regular air.
I like nature. I live close to the beach, and I love having some kind of nature around it.
Yeah.
Med Twins are asking, please tell what's your way to write Horrorpops lyrics.
Hi, Matt Twins. How do I write? It's actually funny because I'm like looking at my bookshelf is right over here, and I was like, oh, one of my books is called Hitchcock Style. It's about design of clothing design choices in Hitchcock movies. Anyways, I remember looking at that book and going, oh, Hitchcock Starlets, and that's how that lyric started. Lyrics are, experiences, but also created and enhanced, or it'll be, if it's a sad love song, it could be because I've just, been hanging out with a girlfriend and that might have been going through a rough time. And then I'll write about that experience. Walk Like a Zombie is pretty much, I guess, my song to Kim. I think Necromantics has one that goes the other way. Julia, the song Julia, again, Julia is my closest friend. She and I played in Peanut Pumpkin together. She now lives in Germany. So ideas come from anywhere, but what decides a lyric is the melody line. I always start with the melody line, and that would kind of set the mood for the song and what the subject should be about.
Any songwriting coming from this experience of quarantine?
No, I think I think it's really, really hard to get inspired to write lyrics when I have absolutely no impressions from real life. I have news and Netflix, and I really do not want to write about orange people and coronavirus. It's just not my thing.
Vanessa is asking, can you tell us the meaning behind Everything is Everything?
I think that lyric is pretty self-explanatory. It's about a relationship falling apart and fighting for it to not fall apart and to remind what's important in relationship, and more importantly, what you lose if you choose to walk out of one. Everything is everything when you walk out of something.
Mad Twins are saying, we're glad to hear you're not writing lyrics in the last minute before the record.
I won't say that hasn't happened, because that has happened for sure. But I think one of my favorite lyrics was actually a last minute lyric, and it's the C part for a song called Trapped. I love the way I describe being in love in that C part. It's a chest ingestion. I like it.
That's nice. Loki is asking about the Brains collaboration. Great track. Have you considered doing more collaborations and maybe other genres?
The Brains collaboration was interesting, and the most free experience, because Renee came over to the house, and anybody that knows Renee is like, that guy just has 1,000 things in his head at once, and constantly like squirrel. But he came and and he had these chords, and he's like, do what you want. And so I was like, oh, you want me to write, basically the melody line? And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay. So unlike I did a song with Matt Sin, where Kufte was, very much like, no, this is the melody, this is what I want you to do, and I want you, no, don't sing it that way, sing it this way. And I ended up singing like he does. I actually sound like a female version of Kufte, I believe. I've recorded with Left Alone, both bass. That's one of the few ones I've actually been allowed to play bass for another band. And also did vocals for them. I like showing up on other people's recordings. It's so much easier than having to do your own. Like, you can just show up, be there for 2 hours, and split. It's kind of nice.
Voltern is asking, do you have a favorite book?
Yes. Well, no, shit. I have a lot of favorite books. My all-time favorite that I recommend to anybody, again, I mean, of at least my favorite when it comes to like science fiction kind of stuff. It's called Lamb by Christopher Moore. And I've never laughed so much as I did, like, out loud while reading that book. It's just so funny and so well written. Another less famous author, Daniel Pinac. He's a French author. He wrote this series of books about a family in the Bellevue area of Paris called the Melusines. He made me want to refresh my French from school so I could read in the original language, because goddamn, he's a talented writer. And when it comes to music books, I can reach it. Do a little plug from a very, very dear friend of mine. Roger Murray. See if you can see it here. My Riot.
Oh, okay.
That's a really, really fun book if you want to, read about the actual, hardcore scene in New York, and like, yeah, I would recommend that for sure.
Wow, there's lots of questions now. Sorry. I'm trying to one album. And can you recommend a movie? So you recommended a book, one album, and one movie.
One movie. Okay, so since it's Halloween, it should be horror related. What was that called? It's a movie about a movie. Nosferatu. Do you remember that movie, babe? Black and white Nosferatu. Anybody remember what I'm talking about? Kim will Google. It will pop up in a second, I'm sure. Let's do it. He's still Googling.
All right.
I'll be back with that answer.
Are there any updates on the new album? I don't think that you mentioned that you're going to be recording an album.
That's what I call an optimistic person right there.
Yeah.
Not ruling out. We're not saying we will. We're not saying we won't. We'll see what happens.
How was it recording in Spanish on the track La Pregunta?
La Pregunta.
Yeah, with Left Alone.
It was it's fun because although I've had Latin in school, I can maybe read some Spanish or understand some things, but I don't speak Spanish. So having to sing a song where I didn't know what the fuck I was singing about, like, yeah, okay, La Pregunta, the question. I mean, so I was like a little hesitant, and it takes a lot of trust. I trusted them guys that they weren't going to make me sing something ridiculous. And I also trusted that they would correct me on my pronunciation. But it was a fun experience to play with Left Alone. And actually, Left Alone now has another great bass player, Jimmy Jam. He's been playing bass for a long time too. He would be interesting to talk to as well on your show, I think.
And Senor Big Dog is asking for your favorite taco joint.
Hey, I'm in East LA. I have so many great choices. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
What artist would be your dream to play with?
Even for free, what venue would this stream show be at? I think I kind of answered all this question already. I mean, I would die to play with Nick Cave. That's never going to happen. He has no clue who I am, and nor would he ever find out. But that would like, if I had a good dream, I want to dream about something good, it would be about playing with Nick Cave. And I don't care if it's in front of 5 people in a living room or in one of the greatest stages in the world. If I could choose a venue I would like to play again in general, it's the Gorge, it's called. Google that. It's the most beautiful outdoor theater. Have you played there at the Gorge?
I don't think so. Where's that?
Is it Washington? Do you remember? It's Washington somewhere. No. In the middle of nowhere, Washington.
Would you guys do a split like NoFX Rancid did, where you both cover the other songs? I would suggest Mad Marge and the Stonecutters.
Mad Marge and the Stonecutters. Yeah, that would be fun. Brian, who used to play guitar for Mad Marge, is I would call him family. He's toured with Horrorpops as crew since 2007, I believe. So that would be kind of like, it would be a little incestuous actually, because it's so close, but it would be fun.
Are your go-go dancers personal friends? I
Yes.
guess you kind of answered that.
Yes.
Do you like video games?
No.
Are you gonna play again on the Navajo Nation?
I would love to, and I think chances are that we got an offer. I can't talk much about it, but Navajo Nation is in the future. That is one of my all-time favorite shows, is playing Window Rock on Navajo Nation. It was the craziest crowd, the craziest experience, and I feel so grateful that we got to play the nation. And I so hope we get to do it again.
And let me see.
So I should probably say Yatahe.
Kim, did you find that movie name yet?
I think you're talking about Shadow of the Vampire.
Shadow of a Vampire.
John Malkovich.
Yeah, it is John Malkovich. Yeah.
Fans are asking like what kind of a records collection you have over there.
Oh God, there's an embarrassing block over there, and oh God, no, let me block that.
Well, records are always cool.
I think one of my favorites is right in front here, so I can grab that. Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, wait, that's a good one too. That's a very big inspiration right here. That one.
Nice.
And ooh, have you heard this one? The Brian Ferry Orchestra.
I'm not sure if I heard. I think that I heard songs from that album. I'm not sure if I heard that whole album.
It's interesting. You should listen to the whole album. It's
okay.
It's good. It's surprisingly good. Okay,
well, he's excellent singer and excellent entertainer.
Yes,
I do like him. A few people asked you about Australia. How was the experience like traveling over there?
Australia is one of my favorite countries in the world, and if I ever had to move out of the US, I would try my very, very best to go to Australia.
Why is that?
So culture, I think, is very tied to the country you're from, has a culture. Like America, the culture that comes with America is this greatness and larger than life thing, because the country is greater and larger than everything else. You know, it's a huge country with huge spans of emptiness and nothing, and it gives a mentality as well with that. And Australia has that as well. It has this great vastness. But what Australia also has is the British humor, the closeness, you know, going to the pub after work kind of, you know, is normal and a part of society. I miss that from Europe, that kind of, you know, everybody comes meet up at the pub after the show. We don't have much of that in LA. And so to me, Australia is the perfect combination of, you know, two great nations.
And your last Horrorpops show before the comeback tour was in Mexico. How was that?
Mexico City. That was, it was really funny because I had, right around that time, there had been like some online trolling. There had been a Facebook page started that all it was on that page was criticizing me, making fun of my weight, my look, whatever. There was a lot of memes like Patricia Day bigger than her base, and it made me very self-conscious. I already am. I'm not comfortable, being on stage in front of people is always a little nerve-wracking. I spent a lot of years throwing up before going on stage. So like right around that time, I was very upset. So when we played Mexico City, two things. There was that going on. Then it was we were playing Day of the Dead. So we're like, okay, well, let's dress up. So Nirama and Kim were priests, and I was a nun. So I could wear this like big Moomaw looking thing, big black thing I could hide in. And a lot of people thought it wasn't me. Like a lot of people were like, why are Horrorpops playing without Patricia? Which is really weird because it's clearly my voice, But besides from that, it was a fun experience. It was fun to like get to the venue, and then that whole street was just filled with merch sellers, like bootleg merch. And some of the signs were greater than the ones we had ourselves at the time. So we just went and bought it all so we could sell it in the US. It was fun.
I love playing Mexico City.
Yeah.
And I love playing Mexico. It's one of my favorite places to play. So do you have any advice like for people that would like to get a gig? I always like to ask that to my guests because I think it seems hard to find the people to play in a band with, and how do you find people like-minded and then get that gig so that you can actually have something going on?
Well, I mean, I talked about it a little in the beginning that it was hard at the time when I started wanting to play with other people, early 90s or whatever, that it was hard to find people to play with because of my gender. But of course, it's a problem that everybody has. If you want to play, you have to find people to play with. My suggestion would be how to get a gig. It's different if you're just starting out, just starting to play. Just play with whatever the hell you can get to play with. Doesn't matter. You should choose music that's out of your comfort zone, things you're not familiar with. You shouldn't rule that out. You should just play everything you can play. Play, get in like classical, get some lessons in jazz and all these other things that not necessarily in your style of music, and just play with everybody that you can, because there's an experience you get with playing with another person or a full band that you don't get from sitting at home. So just if you meet somebody and they tell you that you play, you go like, hey, can we jam together? Just fucking do it. Later in life, to get that gig to play, I would love to be a musician for hire. I have friends that are. I don't know how the hell they do it. So I don't know. I would love to find out. I don't know how to do that. You probably know more about that than I do. You should tell people.
The show is about you today.
Oh, you just wussed out of that question, didn't you? Yeah, I saw that.
Christina wants to know, is there a place where you want to tour but have yet to tour?
China would be fun to try. Let's see. I'm jealous that Necromantics has gotten to play New Zealand and we haven't, because I would love to see New Zealand and spend some days hiking.
I never played New Zealand either. I've been there, but never played there. Have you played? Since you just started smoking, that answers this question. Senor Big Dog is asking, did you quit smoking? Your voice sounds not as bad.
Clearly not, but you're used to hearing my voice on tour, which, you know, that's a little more strenuous. And also, if you're comparing it to this last tour, I'm pretty sure we had pneumonia. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't take a deep breath. So there were, well, I do occasionally quit smoking. I often quit smoking, and then sometimes I pick it up again. I can quit anytime. I'm not one of those addicted. I could stop and it won't be a problem. But I like to fidget. So I like that part of it.
Do you have a favorite rockabilly band at the moment?
No. That doesn't mean I don't like rockabilly, because I do, but I'm not into it to the same degree as Kim is, who can, you know, mention all the band names, and I'll be like, who, what, where? Okay, cool, you know.
Oh, where did the first Horrorpops show take place?
Hi, Madsen. I see you. That took place in Denmark. At, was it Stengade Tralles? Yeah, same place that Necromantics did their first ever show, Stengade Tralles in Copenhagen.
Oh, that's the show. That's the venue where you guys met.
We met in Germany. Kim and I met in Germany.
Okay.
But I said the first show where Necromantics debuted was at the same venue as Horrorpops debuted the first time.
Okay, got it. I think that I covered all these questions. One thing that I want to know is, after all these years, what inspired you to still do what you do?
You guys do, you know. You guys that want to go to Horrorpop shows and want to buy Horrorpops albums, you are the lifeline right now for Horrorpops.
And like one more song. How do you feel?
Yes, that's exactly what Kim just said. I guess you understand Danish.
I think we should do that.
Yeah, one last song. And again, let's choose something that's like the previous mistake is, I would call, a very traditional Horrorpops bass type of playing. When we did the second album, Bring It On, I wanted to try out some things, so we did a country song. So I think we should play a country song now. At least the Horrorpops version of a country song.
Someone asked if you were a country fan or not.
I'm a big Dolly fan. Very big Dolly fan. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Are you ready? Are you ready? Everybody ready? I'm not ready.
How's my makeup?
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, a little country Horrorpop style.
All right.
I wanna do wrong. I want you go. My eyes are running red from all the tears that I cried. Now I'm watching you with purple. That head just dies a good look. Son of a bitch, yeah, I hope I don't miss. I'm watching you good. I'm watching you burn. You still right. I'm taking what's mine. I'm taking what's mine. Smiles across my face. I'm standing over you, and I'm laugh straight in your eyes. I'm taking you home. The bitch is found stone. Got all the double bill. ugly son of a bitch. I'm glad I didn't miss. I'm taking you home. Now I'm all alone. You suck my heart dry. I'm taking what's mine. I'm taking back what is mine. You came to my home so many. You thought how to get it to every little side. You suck clowns. You suck violence. When everything was taken, I never give up your times. That night I opened the Barkeeper's box and I shot you both down. The bloody mass of fire was on my hot side. You suck my heart dry. I'm taking what is mine. No more hurt friends. What's that? It's for you to cry. You still my heart is good. I'm taking what is mine. No longer will I cry. I'm taking back what is mine.
Pew, 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 pew. Happy Halloween.
Thanks so much, Kim. And thank you, Patricia. This was amazing. Everybody loves it.
Goody goody.
I say kind of like a new spaghetti western soundtrack.
I love Ennio Morricone. He's a huge inspiration for everything.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Amazing. Timeless music.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yes. We've been
You're
talking for
amazing.
almost 3 hours now. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
great.
that?
We're done
3
then.
hours.
What's the record? Was that 4 hours or something ridiculous?
It's like 4 hours and over 4 hours. I don't know. No, it's the thing that Kim started these, the fashion with super long ones, and there was a long one with Vic from
Yes,
Coffee Cats, and
I
there
was laughing at Vic, like he just wanted to get that 3 minutes longer.
and there was I think that Brent from Social Distortion was also pretty long.
Mm.
But I want to like feature every artist, as complete as possible, and then all
You're
of you
doing a
have
great job. Like for any of you
different
that's watching this for the first time, you should go to YouTube and watch the other shows. There's like really some good nuggets of information, especially for bass players. Like you should check it out for sure.
Thank you, Patricia. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned? Is there anything that you would like to add?
No,
Yeah,
I think we've covered everything, haven't we?
The most complete Patricia.
Yeah, I think it doesn't get more than that.
Well, thanks so much for being a part of the show, being a part of the Slapstream.
Thank you for having me on. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Of course, please continue what you're doing. I see everybody is waiting for you to start playing again, to start touring Australia, Europe, all over Mexico, and I think for that merch as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'll open up the merch up. I'll try and do that. Okay. Got it.
All right. Thank you, Patricia. Happy Halloween. And
Happy Halloween.
Hope to see you play somewhere live soon.
You too. We need to get back out there.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much for all of you. That I think that at one point there were like 350 people watching this, so that's definitely a record so far. And I really appreciate one comment that I saw from I believe it was from Mad Twins. They said, we will remember 2020 for Djordje's slap streams for sure. So I'm glad that something positive happened. And I gotta say that I'm doing these for all these bass players and all the fans as well, and also for my own sanity, because there's not much contact with music these days, and I'm hungry for music, and there's nothing besides playing live. There's nothing that I enjoy more than talk bass to my fellow bass players. And so that's the reason why I started Slapstream. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. There were a few. Thank you for all these super chats and super stickers. I'm trying to find the few that I missed to feature. But if I missed, I'm sorry, but people can see that on top of the live chat. And thank you for your donations. If you really want to support the channel, check out the Patreon. I offer lots of cool things on the Patreon, and thanks for all the new Patreons. And then we got, like, since the last time, I'll do a shout out next week. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Make sure to follow Patricia. Her links are below the video, and me if you want. And Art of Slap Bass, the most important if you're a bass player. Tons of info about our art. And don't forget, never fret, slide it in smooth, and keep it in the groove. This is Djordje, your friendly neighborhood bull fiddle cat, and I'll see you next Saturday.